Hi, my name is Cohen. I teach International Affairs Reporting. What do we want students to take away? We want students to think broadly and clearly about the world. We would like students to learn how to write about the world in a way that is critical, analytical, and we would like students to be able to speak about the world in a way that is informative and insightful. So those are the three things that we would like, or I would like my students, ideally, to come away with after a year of International Affairs Reporting. My favorite part about the class this year is listening to students discuss issues, to hear them present on issues, and to go down roads and avenues that maybe they had not explored before. And so I learn a lot from the students, and that's the fun part of this course.
Hey everybody, I'm Katie. I did my presentation on child soldiers in Africa. Surprisingly, most child soldiers aren't actually in Africa anymore, they're in Burma. But one of the most interesting things I learned doing my research for my presentation was that the biggest issue facing child soldiers in Africa right now is rehabilitation, particularly with female child soldiers. So, I mean, Africa has come a long way, but there's still a long way to go in regards to child soldiers.
I did my presentation on the rainforest, the Amazon rainforest, and I learned that not only is it the lungs of the world, but it also contains 50% of the world's biodiversity.
Hi, I'm Galen. I presented on China's economy for 4201C, and I learned that China's economy, after a period of rapid, upscale in the economy, China's economy now is in a period of transition where they have to move to a different sector. One problem that I found that they faced was an increase in child obesity, which has been spurred on by Child's One Child policy, which I guess because the parents are only looking after one child after generations of looking after many children, they're starting to spoil their children, which means that children are getting more obese and less, able to work in China's workforce.
So my presentation was about the United Nations, its goals, its purposes, and its role in the big bad world. And basically what I learned was that the world cannot function without the UN, so everyone should go and work for them.
Hi, my name is Jane. I did my presentation on the Mexican drug war. It's been going on for a long time. It's been getting a lot more serious, and it's been extending further into South America and closer to North America. One of the most interesting things to watch from Mexico that I discovered is the new direction the president intends to take, kind of removing some of the national army from the drug war and kind of focusing more on social measures and economic tactics. So stay tuned, I guess, in the next couple of years.
I did my presentation on the island disputes in the South China Sea. So while it may be a conflict about a bunch of tiny rocks, there's also a lot of oil and gas that's at stake, and a lot of interest from other countries like the United States and Canada.
My name is Natalie, and I did my presentation on Thailand and its sex trade and human trafficking. And I learned that this primarily targets children and women, but also there's Canadian citizens who are traveling to Thailand for this purpose.
So I did a presentation on Brazil, and Brazil is one of the world's leading emerging economies, along with the BRIC nations, so Brazil, Russia, India, and China. And what's really striking about Brazil is how in a not too long period of time it's been able to take itself from immense poverty and severe dichotomy between rich and poor, and through successful reforms on stuff like education, it's been able to bring itself to a regional power, and is really starting to move into the world, the worldwide market. So has a lot of big opportunities coming up with the Olympics and the World Cup, and it's really Brazil's time to shine.
Okay, my name is Robyn Farrow, and I did my project on the Roma of Europe. The most interesting part of my project was the current Canadian government's ways of blocking Roma people from seeking refugee status in Canada. Like right now they just unveiled an advertising campaign in Hungary, and it's these big billboards warning them against coming to Canada with unfair claims.
I presented about North Korea, and I learned that it is a very, very scary country, especially now that Kim Jong-un is in power. And I also learned some fun facts about Kim Jong-il, and one of them was apparently he invented the hamburger. So hi everyone, my name's Amanda and I presented on my favorite topic, the world of drugs. I found out some really cool things. First of all, cocaine use is decreasing in North America and spreading to Europe, which means West Africa as a new hub is actually increasing in cocaine use. I also found out that in terms of heroin, 90% of the world's opium is produced in Afghanistan. And there's a huge heroin-addicted population in Russia. Actually, 90% of Russia's drug users have used opiates of some kind. It's a really big problem. And the most exciting new drug problem is in Asia, where we're seeing a lot of Southeast Asian countries who have never experienced really serious drug problems, sprouting little meth labs and amphetamine labs everywhere. It's really cool, it's really exciting, and it's something you have to watch for.
So I presented on Libya, looking at its history under al-Gaddafi, and then I looked at the future of Libya and where it's going. And one of the interesting things that I learned when I was researching for this presentation was that al-Gaddafi and Nelson Mandela were good friends, and that al-Gaddafi gave him a Human Rights Prize, and that Nelson Mandela's grandson is named after al-Gaddafi.
Hi, my name is Oyeyinka, and I presented on the Euro crisis currently happening. A little fact that I learned was that the little Mediterranean country called Cyprus actually holds a lot of foreign investments, billions of dollars worth. One example is for Russia, it holds over $31 billion of Russia's investments. So that's pretty interesting how Europe works in terms of which countries actually hold the money versus which ones get to spend it, and yeah.
So I did my project on the International Monetary Fund. It was conceived by the United Nations in 1944, has 188 countries signed on as members, and works to ensure monetary stability in an international forum.
So my name is Samantha, and my project was about Syria. So this conflict began with 30,000 people dying, and now it has reached around 60,000. It's insane. So I talked about the tensions involving the Free Syrian Army, the US, Russia. So it was pretty much a conflict that involved pretty much everybody, and every day I was coming in with new information that I need to add it on. So it was kind of an intense, crazy project, but a lot of fun to talk about, and I spoke to a lot of really interesting people. Yeah.
Well, that I hope you go out into the world with a sense of optimism. It's very easy today to be pessimistic about the world. It's very easy to see only darkness, and students are fascinated by darkness because they're journalists, and that's always a better story. But there's a lot of interesting things happening. The world is probably more peaceful, the world is probably more prosperous than it was, and it's those stories too that matter. So I'm hoping students will understand that that too is part of the world and part of what they should be writing and thinking about.